Thank you.
Thank you. Can you guys hear it? Great. Thanks for having me. So on to the Game of Thrones theme. Last night I went to Mizumi, which is at the Wynn. And so raise your hand if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Like, where are we all going tonight? Well, I mean, I think it's on right now. No, but you walk in and there are masks, like loading the wall. And I put on my Facebook, I said, Game of Thrones, anyone? So those of you that aren't in the know, there was a segment where there was all these masks. It was so weird. And then we got dessert, and the dessert was a mask. It was so they were definitely in the theme of Game of Thrones. So thank you, Retail Brokers Network. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Debbie, for having me. I know it's been a couple years we've been trying to do this. Last year I was across the hall. So I'm very excited to be here. A couple things before we get started. Raise your hand if you're landlord leasing. Project leasing, great, put them down. Raise your hand if you're tenant rep. You all do both. Raise your hand if you're investment sales. Okay, great. So as Debbie said, 33 years, I started when I was 10. And I was with a big company in Miami called Terra Nova. We were part of the New America Network, which is now NAI. And then for a very short time, we were part of Retail Brokers Network. I don't remember when that was, but it was a very short time. And I was there. I started in the rookie training department, like the rookie training class, leasing. And after I was there 18 years. The last 6 years there, I grew through the company and I became the president. When I started, we had 11 people, and when I left, we had over 100. Sterling, and we did some day exchanges where we learned best of class, which was a lot of fun. And I left there because I was a single mom raising a 4-year-old, and my nanny was raising my son, and I said, I can't continue to work 60 and 70 hours a week. So I left to go be a really good mom, and I was the kindergarten room mom, and I was the t-ball coach, and the phone rang one day by Ramco Gershenson in Detroit, and they said, you've been coaching leasing agents your whole career. Will you come up to Detroit and teach? We just hired 4 kids out of University of Michigan, and will you do like a leasing class with them? And I said, January, Detroit, yeah, no. I said, but you have an office in Boca, so why don't you send the 4 down? And you have projects in Boca, and we can canvas, and I love teaching. So that started this side gig I have now, because that went over very well, and they spread the word. So my life now, I have 6 shopping centers in South Florida that I own. I developed one 5 years ago and said I would never do that again. And just like childbirth, I'm doing one now. So 6 projects. So 75% of my world is leasing, collecting rent, acquisitions, due diligence, property management, light checks at night, because it's me, and I have an assistant, and I have a part-time bookkeeper and a part-time property manager. Otherwise, that's it. So we run our deals, and then 20% of my time, I travel the country coaching leasing agents. And we do workshops, and we go canvassing. I was in Irvine, California last week, canvassing Laguna. And the Irvine people were like, we're gonna go into shops in Laguna? I go, we are, and they're gonna wanna talk to us. And it was hugely successful, and it was a lot of fun. So 20% of the time I go to corporate headquarters and do what I love, which is teaching. So I really am happy to be here today. And I'm going to talk, even though I do love canvassing, I'm gonna talk about that as well, but also I will talk to the tenant reps in the room, and a little bit to the investment sales. I might have left you out a little bit, but I'll work you guys in. So do you guys know the 5 F words of the new retailers that are opening in all of our shopping centers? 5 F words. Who are the 5 F words?
Furniture, fashions.
Furniture.
Fashions.
Food. Fitness.
And fun.
Fun. And one more. Are you ready? Physicians. Okay, so that's just some deals I've done, in the past few years, just so you know that I live your life. I do what you guys do, okay? Go ahead. Everyone want to do more business? Raise your hand. Yep, okay, go ahead. No, so do you think it'll work now or no? Yeah. Okay, so what's business development another word for? My favorite word, prospecting. So Does anyone still prospect besides me? Yes, I love that. And how, do you know what the top way to prospect right now in 33 years of doing this? The number one, 33% response. Who knows the answer? 33%.
Social media?
Yes, which part?
Facebook?
Facebook. Do you do it? Do you get 33% response?
Something like that.
Okay, so Facebook. Who has never heard of this, Facebook prospecting? Facebook prospecting. Facebook. So 2 billion people on Facebook. Direct messaging on Facebook. You do direct messaging? So Facebook allows you to send 10 to 12 Facebook direct messages a day before they cut you out. So you identify a use. There's my chicken scratch, bike stores. I wanted a bike store in one of my properties I own, and I identified those 23 in my Broward County area. So I checked off Bike America, and I went to Bike America's Facebook page, and there's this little blue bar, and it says message. And that is your invitation to DM them or direct message them. So I clicked on it, and I said, Friday at 12:41, hi, I own shopping centers. Would you like some additional locations? Friday at 4:35, the guy says, hi, Beth, I'm Roque, one of the managers. Can I call you? I said, sure. He calls me, or I called him, and he said, we have 7 locations. They're all 7,000 square feet. We're relocating all of them to 3,500 square feet. We're in the middle of a deal near, I told him which 2 shopping centers I was pitching to him. He said, my boss has been negotiating for 3 months down the street. I don't think he signed the lease yet, but let me talk to him because we're getting very frustrated. I said, great. At Friday at 10:29, I DM'd him back and said, hey, did you speak to your guy, meaning the owner? Did you sign at Jacaranda? I hope not. He writes back at 11:50 Friday. There's a reason I'm giving you all of these times. He says, I'll call you tomorrow. I just got I had sent him the 2 flyers. He says, I'm opening up them now. But we have a grand opening of a location tomorrow. I said, great, congratulations. By the way, you can get all of these slides and you don't have to worry about taking the pictures. Great. I said, lots of success. I need a bike. Maybe I should come buy one from you. He said, sure, let's do it. Saturday morning, 11:37, owner DMs me. Hi, Beth, it's Gary. I'm the owner of Bike of America. We get on the phone. He brings up an issue about zip code analysis with distribution on bikes. I said, okay, well, go check that out. I told him where my 2 centers were. He writes back, we want to go out and see it today at 5. I said, did the zip code thing come out fine? He said it did. I said, do you want me to meet you there? Of course, I'm dying to meet him there. He goes, no, it's okay if you can't, but that would be great. Of course I go there. So this is one of my favorite parts of this. At 4:57, he says, we're here. Okay, raise your hand if you're a project leasing agent. How often does that happen? Never, right? So 4:57, he's telling me we're here. I said, okay, I'm pulling in. So Saturday at 6:57 at night, I said, thanks, it was great meeting you. So they had brought 5 people to come look at the space, and they were complaining about the 3 months of negotiation, and then he drops a little tidbit that the landlord leasing agent just told them they have to add an ADA bathroom. So I know, in my market, that's another 3 months with permitting. So I write to him, it was great meeting you guys. I understand your frustration. If you can get Jacaranda signed, by all means, like, know, and trust, go for it. But if I talk to my GC and all we have to do is flooring and paint, which means I can get you in a couple weeks, because we don't need a permit for that. Because in some markets, permits can take 3 months. So I wasn't bashing the other guy. I just wanted to educate him that an ADA bathroom is going to be 3 more months. He says, we're very interested. Can I call you tomorrow, Sunday? I said, yes. And we have another conversation. He says, we're going to take your space. And then on Monday morning, he says, he calls me and says, he goes, we want your space. And then he goes, oh, I'm talking to the Jacaranda broker on the other line. And I again say to him, okay, but if you decide to go with him, I understand. And he goes, no, we want you. And he calls me on Monday morning, goes, hello. I go, hi, my assistant just got in. She's typing up your leases. And 4 days later, we signed a lease. So, thank you. What's your name? Have you signed a lease yet?
I have
How many have you signed?
one.
Awesome. When did you start?
Well, that signed actually a year ago. They're actually opening in
But when did you start doing Facebook? A year ago?
about a year ago.
Okay. So I have signed 7 deals from Facebook prospecting. Crazy. Why does it work? A couple of reasons. One, you're bypassing the gatekeeper. So I canvass every week, usually every Tuesdays, but maybe 3 times a month I'm out canvassing. A lot of the times when I'm canvassing, I'm looking for properties to buy, but I also get information from the tenants. You're bypassing the gatekeeper because with Facebook, the owner they're the ones looking at the Facebook messages, not their gatekeepers. Number 2, it's a number 5, it's a supply and demand thing. So when the retailer gets home after a long day at work, Sheila, what percentage of the responses are in the middle of the night?
A lot.
A lot. So what happens is they get home, they get settled, they eat dinner, they're with their family, and then they're like watching Game of Thrones, and they start to look at their Facebook. All my return messages are in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It's bizarre, right? So, but they have a chance between opening their emails. Are the Crexy guys still here? Opening their emails and seeing 300 emails, or opening their Facebook and seeing the little 1 and saying, I can answer that one. I can look at that one. So it's supply and demand. And our wonderful friend, Mark Zuckerberg, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, because he sends you a message and says, maintain your excellent response. So your algorithms go up. So when that retailer, that mom and pop opens their Facebook, they get that message. And it reminds them they have a message. So Mark, through his algorithm, is encouraging them to respond to us, which is why out of 10 a day, again, 10 to 12, do you get capped out at 12 a day?
I should say.
What?
I haven't been tapped out yet.
So 10 to 12 a day, they usually cap you out, which you can do in about 20 minutes. It's very easy to do. You pick a use, very important. Kitchen, like if you came and looked at my phone, you'd see kitchen design, kitchen designer, barber. I pick a use and I go to Yelp and I just start focusing on a use. I DM them, and then of the 10 or 12, at some point Facebook says, you can do no more, and then you leave and go to the office or go canvassing or whatever. And then by literally within 24 hours, 3 out of 10 people have responded. On average, 2 say no thank you, but about 2 to 3 times a week, 1 guy says, send me more, I want to see the space, yes, we're interested, and that's how I've done 7 deals on Facebook in the last 13 months. I've never in 33 years seen a response like this. Yeah?
Are you having to follow all of their pages?
No.
Or just separately?
No, you just go to Facebook, you go to their page, little blue bar message. Sometimes if the blue bar is not there, it's that little message icon, and you just send it. I don't follow anybody, or not in this.
You do it from your personal account?
Yes. You have to do it on personal. So I just did an ICSC thing like 2 hours ago, and I could literally see 1,000 people's shoulders go like this when I said that. But what I have interns all the time, and what they do is they create a new personal. So like Kara, if you follow Canvassing with Kara, which you should, Kara Morabito, who works with me, she just created a new Facebook page, but you have to load it up. You can't just put John Smith, new Facebook page, and not have any pictures, because when the prospect goes to look, they'll go, oh, this is a spam. So you got to put some pictures of cute little kids, babies, events, your shopping centers, and then yes, you're not allowed to DM business to business, because that's spam. So who's going to try this? It's awesome. I promise. And if you guys, and anyone after this, go find me. I literally do it with you on your phone. I'll literally do it. Yeah?
You mentioned Yelp. You do it through Yelp also, or you just look them up on Yelp?
So I look them up on Yelp. I haven't done it on Yelp yet, but 3 people this morning after the ICSC talk I gave came up to me and said they're doing it with Yelp.
I know we do it, I know my coworkers do it with Yelp and Instagram and other things as well.
Instagram too. So I'm catching up. I just joined Instagram 6 weeks ago, so I'm not doing it yet. But I'd like to do what works, but I probably try more of that. By the way, 3 years ago, I was not on Facebook. I thought it was absolutely stupid, the whole thing. And one of my young interns came to me, Mackenzie. Andrew knows Mackenzie. Is Andrew still here? Yeah. And Mackenzie came walking in one day and she goes, I think we should prospect with Facebook. And I went, how ridiculously stupid is that? And then I heard my teaching head say that. I went, oh, shame on me. I said, oh, you go ahead and try that. And then we did a deal with Jimmy's Chocolates. They were in South Florida for 49 years. That would have been the one that,
Don't say no for the press.
right, every vet in the room, every vet in the office would have said, they're never opening another location. Jack Liberty, are you here still? 49 years, Jimmy's Chocolates in Dania Beach. If any young Turk would have one of those next-gen kids come to you and said, I think I should go do a deal with Jimmy's Chocolates, wouldn't you have said, they're never doing it, right? She did a deal with Jimmy's Chocolates on Facebook, and I said, I think I should get on Facebook. And now I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm now on all this social media stuff. Okay, so that's Facebook prospecting. Here's another way to prospect on Facebook. And I hope this works. This is a video. Can you see if you can start that? So glad it works. I'm so glad it works. All right. Anyone do videos on their vacancies? A few. We need to do more. Check out this. 474 views on LinkedIn, 248 on Facebook, 278 on Instagram. Eyeballs is where it's at, people. 4 showings, 2 for that space, 2 for a restaurant space from seeing the video, and they have 1 deal pending on the space.
Wow.
Is that crazy? I think it's crazy. I think it's awesome. And then lastly, Facebook advertising. We're playing around with this. We haven't figured it out. So Facebook turned down this ad because there was too much copy, and they approved this one. So Facebook advertising, I don't have enough information to tell you about the success. I just know that we're trying it and we're seeing, and in target audience. Yeah?
When you're posting that video, are you sending it through a direct message to a specific business? So how are those people getting to that video and pictures?
So you're creating a following. So you're putting that on Facebook. So in South Florida, we have something called the South Florida Retail Share. What's it called? South Florida ID Exchange. And we probably have 300 or 400 brokers on that site. It's built over time, so they post it there. He posts it on his regular Facebook account because you don't know if your cousin Sally's nephew, John's fiance's dad wants to open a skate store. So 2 billion people a month on Facebook, it's eyeballs. It's, like, no, like, and trust. No is the number for the first one. So just eyeballs. So I think that he just posted it on his regular page and his feed, and he's growing that. Like I said, I joined Facebook 3 years ago, and I had 5 people, and now I have more. Or LinkedIn, when I joined that 3 or 4 years ago, it took me a while. Now I'm up to 17,000. So when you post and you continue to grow, you'll get the eyeballs. Go where the fish are. These are pictures of me canvassing around the country. It's way more fun together. I tell people all the time to pick a friend, a competitor, the leasing agent across the street, and set a date to canvass. So pick a friend in your office and go, but more importantly, pick the leasing agent across the street. You have exclusives that you can do things that they can't, she can do things that you can't, and trust me, why do I really want to pick people to go canvass? Where am I at with that? What's my idea? You're less likely to do what? Not go. right? You set an appointment with the leasing agent across the street, by golly, you're gonna show up because she or he's not gonna cancel on you either. So it's way more fun to go prospecting together. This picture here, I think oh, shoot. That picture right here, there's a security guard in the back kicking us out. Sign of success. Okay, nationals.
Beth,
Yeah,
when you asked that question, this fella had an answer,
tell me.
and he would like to,
I thought you were recruiting the agent.
Recruiting the agent to,
Recruit with a competitor? Is that what you're doing?
yeah, I want to go canvassing with my leasing agent across the street.
Is that leasing agent a competitor of yours?
Yes,
Well, I thought it was a good chance for you to get to know that person and recruit them.
that too. Absolutely. And learn a lot about their shopping center because maybe you want to buy it. I just think knowing, trusting, and liking is all good. Know, like, and trust? Know, like, and trust.
Beth, that's co-opetition.
Co-opetition.
Offering and competing at the same time in sacred space.
Right. Co-op, okay, I'll give you credit in my next book. The other thing I do locally is we have quarterly the Dead Deals group. And in the market, the sub-market, we invite the 4 or 5 neighborhood leasing agents to go have coffee and talk about the dead deals they couldn't get done. And I've done 2 deals in the last year from the Dead Deals meeting, the Dead Deals coffee meeting. So, you know, co-opetition. So, nationals. The number one thing national retailers absolutely hate beyond a shadow of a doubt is email blasts. I think 50 of them are going to be wearing these tomorrow. They asked me to print these. They hate email blasts, hate them. What does that say? No email blasts. And I actually changed it recently on LinkedIn and said me-mail blasts. I'm trying to trademark that because email blasts are really all about me and they're me-mail blasts and the retailers hate them. So we're in an era of disruption, there's no question, even though catalogs in my era when I was, because I'm much older than, except for Bob, right? Catalogs at one point were 10% and online retail 7%. So it's just changing, right? But in the olden days when Bob and I first started, that was how we did sales. How much can we throw at the top of the funnel and what's going to drip out? And will we be lucky enough to get that? That is so not what it is today. It's the one on the right, which is one-to-one, man-to-man coverage. You have to invest in the relationships to get the retailers, national retailers, to pay attention and see you as someone that's got possibly a site that they want to respond to, not by sending email blasts to 6,000 of your contacts. Money, you make it, you save it, you invest it and spend it, but connections, you have to invest first, and then you get to earn the currency. One-to-one, man-to-man. Okay, who would like to read? Debbie, I think you'd like to read this out loud.
Developers and brokers, while I understand the benefit to cold calling and cold emailing, I ask you to please go to the company website first to see if I have locations in your state and your site requirements. If you call me asking if I have any locations in the state where I have open restaurants, I am not calling you back. If you can't make the time to read our required demographics, I am not calling you back. If you can't make the time to do those 2 things, you are required to explain why I should do a deal with you, because there are hundreds of developers and brokers who do basic due diligence.
Honestly, say it.
Zoe's Kitchen, there was over 20,000 views on that. And then Kevin Workman, Floor and Decor, 80,000 square feet. I met with one of your students today and was very impressed. She had researched the company, contacted my brokers to tell me she was meeting with me. Most impressive, she knew about me and my interests. We spent the first 5 minutes talking about dogs, real dogs, and Georgia Bulldogs. Then to top off the meeting, she left me a handwritten note and a gift certificate to PetSmart. I couldn't accept the gift certificate, but I appreciate the extra effort she put into the meeting. 80,000 square feet. This girl was a rookie, less than 3 years in the business. Same guy, a year later. She sent this to her, Kevin, sent this to his tenant rep broker. I'm not going to tell you which one. Not a retail broker network broker. I heard that Beth Azor teaches a class for brokers. I am pretty sure you broke every rule. Perhaps you should look into the class before sending a flyer to a client. Make sure the size is appropriate for the client. Make sure you haven't already leased said client the store already. Oh well, at least you made me laugh today. Look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. Someone in the office of his tenant rep broker, the landlord leasing agent, sent to Floor & Decor a box that they had already leased. And last one, I'll read this really fast. This is Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. This is less than a couple months ago. My team and I currently cover a dozen states and have to sift through thousands of sites a year in order to get down to the ones that can work. I would advise the following for brokers to earn the trust, confidence, and limited time of the real estate reps. No email blasts and cookie cutter great site for you emails, as this tells them you've put in no time or thought into the communication that clearly shows the site of no interest. This regulates you to the bottom of the pile. Research the user, know if the space type and trade area demographically works for them, know where their existing stores and facilities are, as well as where their competition is located. Attach a map that shows the market, existing stores, competitors, and pertinent traffic counts. Follow up and try to meet the representative in person. Try until they say yes. I like that. Definitely ask for direction, as this shows you're committed, and most people like sharing information with people they think that will really work for them. Do these things consistently, and the rep will start to know you as a serious professional and will investigate your leads very quickly. When you understand the user's needs and send them realistic sites consistently, the rep will be able to prioritize you, as you will have an above average hit rate. As you build a relationship and learn more, craft your presentations to what they want, and you'll create some very long-term relationships. You would be surprised at how few brokers do these things. Learn to get them what they need. We need production, not cute ideas. I love pizza, but really need to cut down. I'll tell you what that means. Tenant brokers are becoming more important as travel budgets shrink and increased productivity is needed. Dollar Tree, this was in a response to a LinkedIn post I did that says, I know you guys don't like email blasts, but how do you want us to contact you? You know, and you can go find that post on LinkedIn, 30 national retailers signed in. So doing the research and separating. So I said I always ask my folks in the room, how many national deals from a landlord project base did we do last year? And in your own shops, you can evaluate that. Did we do 20? Did we do 50? Did we do 100? And then evaluate how many, let's say we did 50, how many did we have to contact to get the 50? So if we had to contact 10, which is 500, right? Is that right? 10, 500? So FSU math. So reverse engineering, so every time Kara in my office or I send out an email to a national retailer, I attach a map with their locations, the competitors' locations, and any other tidbits that I think are important to them. Maybe potential co-tenants that I think they like that I've researched to find. And I always get a response because it's one-to-one and not 6,000 people, sending it to my because you guys would all be on my email blast. Chris, you would get my empty Michael's box. And you'd like, why is she sending me this? So one-to-one, and I think if you reverse engineer, so if I did 10 national deals last year, and that means that I need to contact 100 to get those 10, that means in the next 12 months, I need to do 2 of those emails and maps. No brainer, right? But when I say one-to-one, I see people going, That's crazy, I don't have time to do that. But if you reverse engineer it, so look at your own stats from last year and say, okay, I did, the average leasing agent, I just got the results from the survey this week. In the country, not ground up, the average number of deals per agent across the country, 18.5. That excludes any ground up, because ground up makes that number go much higher. So if you're doing less than 18.5 a year, you need to step it up. If you're doing more, you're beating the average. And that's of 101 companies that responded to the survey. So if you did 18.5 and 10 of those were nationals, and you know your stats, because we know all experts know their stats. How many people did I have to call to get the deal? And it's 10 to 1. You know that's 102 a week going forward to do it the way they want us to do it. And they are our customers, and they don't want email blasts. So some thoughts there. And there it is. I had a Winn-Dixie in a shopping center. Everyone know Winn-Dixie? It's like a supermarket, right? So, and General Electric owned the center, and they were coming up for renewal. And GE said, you need to find out if they're renewing or not. I am not kidding, 47 messages. This is before email. 47 left messages. And GE's like, you can't do your job, we're gonna fire you. So I sent a pizza to the rep at 11:30, and I said, have a great lunch. When you get a chance, could you call me? And he called me. So I wrote on there, and someone else posted that they sent a shoe and said, I'm just trying to get my shoe in the door. And I sent cookies with sayings on it, like I needed a waiver from Shell Gas. I had like gotten 10 waivers, and I needed the guy would not call me back. I sent cookies that have writing on it. I love Shell. Shell's my #1 gas, and they called. So I did the pizza. He goes, I don't want pizza. Don't send me pizza. If you guys want this is 17 national retailer comments that literally wrote to me and said specific things about what they want. So if you guys want that 22828, and Josie will get it to you. Okay, can you click that? I think this is a little video. No? One more? Oh. There. Oh, no volume. Oh.
Of course. And what a pleasure it is to meet you.
Mr. Gardner just sends the lamp to my hotel.
Yeah.
I wish to meet you in person.
Yes, Tim was really helpful when we came up with the idea for the lamps.
And we've been discussing personal investment as well.
Lots of conversations that I'm very much looking forward to getting back to.
Well, I'm glad we can do this.
Congratulations on your new Matisse.
Beautiful. Oh, my wife is a true collector. It was quite a bidding war.
Well, to the victor go the spoils.
You know my family crest. Our motto continues to inspire. Ad victorum spolius.
Fantastic.
Well, shall we? Jonas.
Hello, you call us Archibald, Mr. Conrad?
I try to. My girlfriend runs the Cronin Gallery downtown.
I would like to meet her. We must have lunch tomorrow.
They can speak about beauty. They can speak about business.
Sounds perfect.
I'll have my assistant make the arrangement. Auf Wiedersehen.
So that's a movie from Dinner with Schmucks, and that just illustrates so raise your hand, 5 years or less people. Yeah. That guy, the lowest guy in the totem pole. The vets didn't know about the Matisse. The vets didn't know about the family crest. The vets didn't know about, the vets did not send the lamp to the hotel, but the vets took credit for the next gen person who sent the lamp to the hotel. So the vets, we kind of, Bob, we get a little comfortable, right? We get a little complacent. So the next gen people do that work because that young guy landed that huge, big account. Dig the well before you're thirsty. How do you set yourself apart from the rest? There we are tomorrow, 38,000 of our friends. You're writing a thank you note. Why shouldn't we just send a text or an email? Okay, this was from Bob Matarazzo with Shoe Carnival. I don't think he's there anymore. He sent it to Candace. Candace was at Phillips Edison. She was an admin assistant, recently promoted to a leasing rookie. And she sent a thank you note. And he said, Candace, I've received your handwritten thank you note in the mail today and wanted to let you know that this gesture has separated you from 99% of everyone in our business. Never hesitate to call me. Do you guys know who Publix is? Publix, it's a supermarket. They in the last 3 years, they were the #1 acquirer of real estate in the Southeast by quadruple. They hired me to come talk to their new landlord leasing agent teams because now they have to lease vacancy, right? And I said I had the top guy all the way down to, an admin person. There were about 45 people in the room, and I said, well, surely Publix has gotten some handwritten thank you notes. 2 people raised their hand. The top guy and one of the real estate managers. And I said to the top guy, and who was yours from? And he knew exactly who and when. And the other girl got 2. I said, and whose were you from? And she goes, well, one of them was from Hair Cuttery. So I thought that was funny. So 45 people, 3 handwritten thank you notes. For them to know us, we need to do things that are different. And this is old-fashioned, but it's different. And I know we send them to each other, Bob and I. So, but, right?
Absolutely.
I know you're a big believer in it. Yeah. Offense versus defense, what puts more points on the board? And there's a new retailer in town. Okay, I apologize for this slide, but this was at the OAC ICSE, and I was in a session with Fifth Wall. Fifth Wall is one of the top private equity investors, and this is a list that they put up that, thank God I got a picture of it, because when he saw me taking a picture, he goes, please don't take any pictures. I was so glad to get a blurry version, and I apologize. But when you get your slides, if you want them, if you expand, you can kind of see, and I know some of you in the room are repping and involved with some of these DNBs, which I didn't know what a DNB was until I went to Shop Talk after this OAC and learned that that's the new sexy name for online retail. And I had no idea. If you would have asked me before I went to OAC, Open Air Conference for ICSE, how many online retailers are out there, I naively would have said about 50. Frankly, and just in full disclosure, I thought tenant rep, that we were in big trouble. I thought the tenant rep game was easing on out. I saw that slide, and then I saw the following slide. Now, before I show you the following slide, I'm going to ask a question. How many bricks and mortar locations were opened in the last 12 months by an online retailer? How many? 1,000. Who said that? Oh my gosh. You win. You win a book. You want a book? Sure. Okay. 850. Chris, what was the number you told me before I got up here today?
Like 200.
200. If you would have asked me before then, I would have said 50. Like I'm thinking Bonobos, Untucket, right. Warby Parker, done? Yeah. Not. 850. That's crazy. Again, you can have this slide. And then LinkedIn, so you see Wayfair, they just announced. This is LinkedIn about 3 weeks ago. This was a post of all of the online retailers, not all of them, but some of the online retailers who are looking for bricks and mortar. You've got Dirty Lemon, Rockets, Candid, Roan, Outdoor Voices, Rothy's, Koa. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And then on the plane here, Yesterday, I read an article about Away. Who knows about Away? Great. Anybody repping Away in here? Because I want to talk to you. So Away is Away luggage started by a woman. First year sales, 12 million. Online luggage. Second year sales, 150. They're predicting to do 300 million. They just raised Series D money, and they want to open 50 locations. Amazing. Like I'm texting Kara, we have to call Away. So, anybody know who this guy is? Raise your hand if you know who he is. Yeah. So he's my hero. Can we play this video? Hopefully. For those of you that don't know Gary, he's a predictor of trends, 95% accurate with trend predicting. Listen to what he says.
Hey, here's Beth Azor, commercial real estate, South Florida. I know who you are, Beth. You're the best. I love you. Thank you so much for supporting us. It means a lot. Are you doing this as gifts?
He sells wine now.
This last order I need to send to someone else when I didn't, I was doing it fast, so I didn't want to put them all under address. Beth, I love you. Anything I can answer for you while I got you? Yeah, quick. The new DMVs, what percentage of them are going to open bricks and mortar? Obviously, that's important in my world. I apologize. One more time. Digital native brands, what percentage are going to open bricks and mortar? That's fine. If I'm you, I'm following TechCrunch and Recode and seeing every direct consumer brand that has raised a Series C, which means they're probably getting between 40, 30, 50, 60, 70 million in cash. Yeah. And I'm literally emailing them saying, if you want to expand into retail, every DTC brand, when it hits scale, becomes like Warby Parker and starts thinking about actual retail after they've saturated the internet and Amazon. So look for Series C funded consumer packaged good DTC brands. I think you'll find enormous fruitfulness. Fabulous. All right, guys. Good luck to the rest of the night. You're the best, Beth. Thank you for your support. All right, bye.
Is that amazing? Series C, and the Away, and I didn't know what, okay, again, Florida State, math. I'm just a glorified leasing agent. I just happen to own a few shopping centers. I didn't know what Series anything was. I thought Series was Game of Thrones. And then I read this article yesterday, and Away is Series D. He's talking about Series C. I have a young woman who follows me on social media, and she was watching this. Gary Vee was selling wine, and she was watching it. She heard him. This is, whoever talked about recruiting, this young lady in Austin, Texas. There is a group here from Austin?
Yes, White's.
Oh, you cover it. You need to talk to this girl, okay? She sent me the next day a spreadsheet of every online DNB she could find that raised Series C money with contact information and phone numbers. Wow. Then less than 15 hours. So, do you need people in Austin?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk. Was that impressive? Less than 5-year people in the room? So impressive. I can't say enough. Her name is Devony Wilmot. Devony, D-E-V-O-N-Y, Wilmot. So I no longer think tenant rep is dying, because if we have 1,000 DNBs, we're gonna have 2,000. They're raising, now certainly if all of the money funding goes through the tank, that's a problem. But right now, when they're announcing 50 locations, 20 locations, 100 locations, 75 locations, I'm hoping next year, I hear that RBN is repping 20 of them, because at Shop Talk, do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say Shop Talk? Shop Talk was in Vegas this year in March. It's $3,500 to attend, outrageous, 7,200 people. I counted 20 landlords, brands and retailers, and every session is about marketing and their future. It blew my mind away. And there's one woman that was on a panel. Her name is Melissa Gonzalez. She's with a Lionesque group in New York. She is the self-proclaimed tenant rep site selector for all the D&Bs. I don't think she has a real estate license. And I specifically stayed to the last day she was on the last panel to hear her words of wisdom. And she started representing the brands when they were brands in pop-ups in New York City. And now she's traveling the country with a few of them. I think that some of you need to have a budget and a team to go visit Fifth Wall for sure. That should be your next year's speaker, the guy from Fifth Wall, or at your retreat. Fifth Wall, because they're the ones that's the guy that this first slide that said, "Can take pictures." They're the ones helping these guys get the funding. So you guys, the tenant council should be connecting. So are you guys doing all of this and this is all boring or this is some good stuff?
Awesome.
Awesome, okay, great. Okay, great. So that's my challenge to you guys. You need to target them. And then, I'm so sorry, I just have to tell you a story with the Marcus and Millichap guy. So it's all, again, about knowing. Knowing. If eyeballs aren't on you and people don't, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So this guy, the shopping center I bought, upper left-hand, I did a good job renovating, upper left-hand corner, Barry Wolf, Marcus and Millichap, he was the listing broker, and he sold me the center, I bought the center. 10 years, every month, so 10 times 12 is 120. Every month, Barry Wolf pings me and never asks for business in 10 years. So, hey Beth, drove by the center, saw that you signed Kirkland's, congratulations. The next month, hey Beth, here's the recent Marcus and Millichap restaurant report. Hey Beth, in 10 years, I went to lunch with him once. It was a closing lunch after we closed. Once he tried to ask me to meet at ICSC, and I said, I have a rule, I don't meet with people I know at ICSC, especially people in my market. I can meet you when we're at home, right? You know that. That's our rule, right? So 10 years, then it became a social media post or an email, a phone call, a voice message. I don't think I probably had maybe less than 5 conversations in 10 years. However, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I decided to sell that property. There was only one guy. It was only one guy. And we calculated, he knows I tell this story and he goes, I'm so embarrassed, I should have asked you for the business. Yes, he should have probably asked me for the business 5 years in, but he didn't. I'm helping him with that. But 10 years, 120, so someone get out your calculator, 120 times 5 minutes. What is 120? What is it? 600 minutes, and the fee would have been 300 grand. 300 grand for 600 minutes. How much is that? 300 grand divided to 600, how much is that a minute? 5,000. You did not go to Florida State and know Florida State math. How much? 500 a minute. 5,000 a minute. 5,000 no, it was a minute, 5,000 a minute. So the question, there's a Harvard study that says the first time that people ask for the business, 90% people ask once. And I'm getting these numbers. Look this up. This is a real Harvard study. 60% ask twice. 30% ask three. It goes all the way down to 10% ask, or 2% ask 5, and 90% buy after the 5th ask.
When he pinged you, how did he ping you?
Email, phone, voicemail, saw me at a conference. He has CRM, so he goes, oh, how did Mario, now 3 years ago, social media, I got him on social media. So now when I post pictures, he'll say, send me a text, how great that Mario won the golf tournament. Now his reaching out has gotten to the extreme because now, I always joke the first 2 questions in Vegas, everyone asks each other, who knows this thing of me. What? Nope. The first time tomorrow you run into someone, you're going to ask them two things. When did you get in, and where are you staying? Tomorrow, mentally check that box. Now, if you're friends on Facebook, you never do that. You say, oh my gosh, how great that you went on that trip last week with your girlfriends. That's what you talk about. So social media and branding, and I love that you guys have the marketing council, because that is, again, investing in the connections. And someone said, well, do you ask all the retailers to be their friends? No, but if they ask me, like I know Kevin Workman's building, a garden in his backyard, and I know that, now I'm going to forget his name because I'm having a brain fart. The guy from Rack Room that just climbed Machu Picchu, Kent Gonerman, right? So I'm going to talk to Kent Gonerman in Rack Room Shoes all about his climb of Machu Picchu. I'm not going to say, when did you get in and where are you staying? That's like silly. So top of mind. And then stats, stats, and stats. Do you think that LeBron James and Tony Romo, who I didn't hear, did he speak? Did you guys go see him? I didn't know you guys were here. So supposedly his speech was great. Do you not think that they know, and golfers that play Masters, every stat? How many phone calls did you make? How many responded? How many showings? How many deals? Reverse engineer. I want to do 20 deals. I need to, you need to know these stats if you want to be an Olympic athlete in this business. And last slide. So I think I'm right on time. And I'm going to add, well, you probably don't want me to add, but I would add the restaurant development thing you guys went to. That's awesome. So you got to go outside of this. So RBN should definitely be represented next year at Shop Talk. It is very expensive, but there's only 20 of us. 20 of us out of 7,200 people. I can't tell you the stuff I learned there was unbelievable. So South by Southwest, how to do the franchise shows, Outbound, which is Jeb Blunt's sales thing that a bunch of people went to last month and said it was phenomenal. Omaha, there's a woman, Pam something in Dallas, that went to Omaha last week. She went to that's on my bucket list to go to the Berkshire. I got to buy a chair, but I want to go to that. It was awesome. So and where we buy James Cook, if you're not watching or listening to his podcast, it's probably one of the best podcasts I listen to for the industry. I learned he had a podcast, he talked about recently competitive socializing. So the millennials, besides the 5 F words that we're all leasing to, the part of the fun of the 5 F words is competitive socializing. Topgolf, axe throwing, escape rooms, barcades. That millennials, to get off their couch, want to go and do something socially, but they want to compete with their friends. So that's I learned that, I think, on his podcast, Competitive Socializing. Another thing I learned on his podcast was he announced one day a stat that 218 vinyl record stores opened in the US last year. And you know what I was doing the next day, right, Andrew? I was canvassing every vinyl record store in South Florida because I want tenants that will bring destination traffic and can pay a lot of rent. And those vinyl records are very expensive. I was shocked when I heard that over 200 vinyl record stores opened in the US. So that's the kind of stuff that's on his podcast. But this is the 3% rule. And Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn or one of these self-improvement gurus said, if you invest 3% in yourself, that it's the best investment. You can never lose that investment. And supposedly he says you can get 28% back. So 3%, 28%. Sounds like a great return, When you're young and you're in the business less than 5 years, your learning curve is unbelievable. You're learning every day. And then you get to be like Bob and I. And we're a little old, we're a little crusty, and sometimes people our age coast. And what direction is coasting? Down. You never want to coast. He's not crusty? He's not, no. Okay, you're not coasting. I'm not coasting. So invest in yourself because you don't want to coast, right? That's it. I hope you guys learned a lot, and you can ask questions. Oh, thank you. Oh, wait, I have to take a picture. Stay standing, I'm gonna get a picture. Hold on.